efforts in order to create a well-rounded student upon graduation. But we also really focus on collaboration within the classroom and getting students to work in teams, getting students to approach problems with their colleagues, I think is very important in terms of developing the skills that they need then to succeed in the workforce. So those are just a couple of the things that I think make U.S. higher education very unique: flexibility, diversity, focus on critical thinking, focus on problem solving, and the collaborative nature of university. As long as I'm here, I would also just like to plug a couple of the services that we offer here at the U.S. Embassy. One of the things that we do is Education USA Advising. This is for students to choose a university in the United States. This is open for both students, but also for universities who are looking for partners to collaborate with in the United States, as well as high school counselors. So if you have any high school counselors out there in the audience who are interested in helping their students find the right university for them in the United States, our Education USA advisors can help them as well. And then we also offer a regional English language office that does a lot of teacher training for English, as well as teacher training on critical thinking skills, curriculum design, and other elements. So I'd be happy to talk more about that if you would like during the question and answer session. So I'm really looking forward to questions from you, either in Bahasa Indonesia or in English. Again, I apologize for the noise behind me. I was planning to be in my hotel room by now to have a quiet environment for this talk, but Lion Air got us a little delayed, so mohon maaf. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Mary. Thank you very much for giving us such informative and interesting presentation and a speech, audiences. Before we come into Q&A session, let us give a chance for the translator to translate important points from the speech of Miss Mary into Bahasa in a brief way. Mr. Fallen, the floor is yours.
First of all, thank you, Ms. Reshop, for your explanation. Allow me to translate what you have explained to the audience here. Jadi Bapak Ibu, pertama yang akan saya jelaskan adalah bahwa sistem pendidikan tinggi di Amerika Serikat sudah berjalan dengan baik, dibuktikan dari banyaknya atau ada beberapa universitas di Amerika Serikat yang masuk dalam peringkat yang relatif tinggi di QWS. Lalu programnya sendiri itu relatif fleksibel dan mahasiswa di sana bisa memilih jurusan yang luas ya, dengan pilihan yang sangat beragam. Dan berbeda dengan di sini, ketika anak-anak masuk perguruan tinggi, mereka langsung masuk ke jurusan-jurusan tertentu. Dan biasanya mungkin ada kesulitan ketika ingin pindah dari satu jurusan ke jurusan yang lain. Tapi di Amerika Serikat sendiri, mahasiswa di sana diberikan kesempatan yang luas untuk memilih beragam jurusan yang ada dan untuk pindah dari satu jurusan ke jurusan yang lain. Karena mereka mengharapkan sumber daya manusia yang tidak hanya ahli di satu bidang. Jadi seperti tadi dijelaskan bahwa sangat normal bahwa seorang insinyur itu juga mempunyai kemampuan dalam bidang psikologi misalnya, atau seorang ahli fisika yang bisa menjelaskan sejarah atau menjelaskan kebudayaan dengan baik. Contohnya seperti itu. Dan itu didukung dengan 4.300 perguruan tinggi dari universitas sampai community college. Dan pemerintah Amerika Serikat sendiri juga sudah membuat kebijakan di mana transfer nilai atau perpindahan dari satu community college ke universitas misalnya itu bisa berjalan dengan relatif mudah. Lalu untuk yang ditekankan di sistem pendidikan tinggi, yaitu tidak hanya skills, tapi juga collaborative learning, critical thinking, dan tadi critical reading, dan juga problem atau project based learning. Kenapa 3 hal tersebut ditekankan? Supaya ketika mereka lulus dan mereka masuk ke dunia kerja yang sesungguhnya, mereka mempunyai kemampuan untuk melihat inti dari suatu permasalahan, atau ketika mereka harus menjalin komunikasi, itu mereka juga bisa melihat inti dari alur komunikasi tersebut kemana. Dan itu tidak hanya digalakan di universitas, tapi juga mulai masuk ke dalam level SMA. Ya, sementara untuk collaborative learning sendiri itu berjalan antar kelas, antar mata pelajaran, atau antara satu universitas dengan universitas yang lain. Sekali lagi dengan tujuan untuk membangun budaya untuk bekerja sama, atau untuk melihat satu permasalahan mungkin tidak hanya dari satu sisi, tidak hanya dari satu disiplin ilmu, tapi juga dari sisi lain atau dari disiplin ilmu yang lain. Jadi sekali lagi yang ditekankan di situ adalah kolaboratif, lalu critical thinking dan critical reading, lalu problem atau project based learning yang tadi contohnya dijelaskan ada di sekolah bisnis atau sekolah teknik. Jadi supaya mereka benar-benar bisa menyelesaikan masalah yang bisa dipastikan mereka akan temui di dunia kerja sesuai dengan field mereka masing-masing. Lalu tadi yang terakhir juga dijelaskan bahwa USMC sendiri mempunyai beberapa program yang mendukung pendidikan, tidak hanya bagi peserta didik yang ingin melanjutkan studi di Amerika Serikat, tapi juga bagi Bapak Ibu guru yang ingin meningkatkan kemampuan profesionalnya, baik dari sisi critical thinking maupun dari penyusunan kurikulum. Kurang lebih itu yang bisa saya rangkum dari penjelasan tadi. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Mr. Valen. Now we come to the questions and answer sessions. I'd like to have 2 questions from the participants, please. You may ask questions either in English or Bahasa. For the audience in this room, you may raise your hand, and for the audience in Zoom meeting, please use raise hand features in order to speak. Is there any questions from Bapak Ibu yang ada di sini? Yeah, please, Miss, name please. Yeah, Mrs. Julia. You please come forward, Mrs. Julia. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon untuk Miss siapa tadi ya? Miss Mary. Selamat siang. Terima kasih atas kesempatan saya mengajukan pertanyaan. Nama saya Julia Dwiningsi. Saya menekan pakai bahasa Indonesia saja ya, Miss. Saya dari Madrasah Aliyah Negeri 15 Jakarta. Ini kayaknya saya satu-satunya yang dari madrasah ya, yang lainnya dari sekolah SMA ataupun SD ataupun SMP gitu. Tadi Miss menjelaskan tentang sistem pendidikan tinggi ya, rata-rata ya. Yang saya ingin tanyakan bagaimana dengan sekolah-sekolah yang levelnya menengah, baik SMP, SMA-nya itu bagaimana gitu di sana. Kemudian apakah yang setahu saya pernah baca di sana sudah benar-benar istilahnya kayak sekolah itu diberi kemerdekaan diberi kemerdekaan sekali dalam penyusunan kurikulumnya gitu. Atau apakah ada masih ada campur tangan dari pemerintah atau bagaimana gitu. Itu saja yang ingin saya tanyakan. Terima kasih banyak. Saya lagi terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Bu
Terima
Julia.
kasih Bu Julia.
Okay, so Ms. Rashak, I will translate the questions from Mrs. Julia. The first question is, what is the uniqueness of educational system in the United States in the level of high school and junior high school? And for the second question is it true that each school has total independence to build and to create the curriculum, or is there any, um, let's say, interference from the government in creating or in composing the curriculum? Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. That's a wonderful question. Terima kasih, Ibu Julia. So in terms of what is unique about the middle school and high school level, I think really in the United States, we're starting to see more and more emphasis on project-based learning and curriculum and critical thinking skills at the high school level as well as the middle school level. Because most educators recognize that it's very difficult to just jump right into college and be able to think critically or write an essay or work in a team, for a project. So we have to start introducing those things very slowly into the curriculum. So for example, I have two children, and while we were recently in the United States, my son was also engaged in project-based learning for a component of their course. They would be given a topic. I think that they had to choose something about civic engagement or volunteerism, and they had to bring in elements of science with environmental protection. They had to bring in elements of English with writing a persuasive speech, and as well as other technical skills and math skills in terms of like trying to figure out the problem. And so you see this kind of project-based learning earlier and earlier in the curriculum in the United States. And I think it's really benefiting the students and helping them be able to succeed when they go to college. But it's also really turning education away from test-based education. So more and more of a student's grade at the end of the year will be maybe a little more subjective, right? It won't just be a multiple choice test, but maybe how did they perform as a group? Or how did they apply the skills from different disciplines into their team project? So I think that's one thing that we're starting to see more and more of in the United States is this shift away from tests and standardized testing and moving more towards this project-based learning, really kind of an IB style approach in a lot of schools in the United States. Do you want to translate that part and then I'll go to the next one?
Oke, dan Bu Julia, untuk keunikan atau ciri khas dari sistem pendidikan menengah di Amerika Serikat sendiri, untuk saat ini mereka lebih berfokus ke project-based learning dan juga critical thinking. Jadi dari level SMP sampai SMA itu mereka memang dipersiapkan bukan hanya untuk masuk ke universitas, tapi bagaimana mereka bisa survive di universitas, bisa mengikuti ritme, bisa mengikuti karakteristik dari sistem pembelajaran di universitas. Dan ada perubahan juga dari sistem tesnya, di mana pada awalnya itu standardized text yang berbentuk contohnya multiple choice, dan sekarang lebih ke penilaian project. Jadi tujuannya supaya mereka bisa mempelajari berbagai macam disiplin ilmu, seperti tadi contohnya dijelaskan bahwa ketika dalam mereka membuat satu project, bagaimana ada elemen let's say science yang valid, tapi apakah hal tersebut bisa dipresentasikan, bisa dijelaskan secara runut, secara jelas kepada audience misalnya. Jadi memang sekali lagi ada perubahan bentuk tes, dan yang kedua lebih menekankan kepada critical thinking dan project atau problem
Aplikatif ya Pak?
iya, problem atau project based learning. Okay, that will be all for my translation. So would you please answer the second question?
Sure. The second question is very complicated to answer. So there is no national standard curriculum in the United States. Sorry, there's an announcement. Each school is able to work within their district to develop their own curriculum. Sorry, can you hear okay?
Yeah, we can hear your voice.
Okay, it's very loud. So there are standards on a national level, and then each state within the United States is able to set certain standards for learning. So for example, once a year, there'll be a national test where the students are asked to perform to show that they have developed, mastered certain skills, particularly for English language and for mathematics and reading. There will be tests that are national and measure, are the students kind of on track at grade level. But in terms of curriculum design for day-to-day teaching, it really is up to a lot of the teachers to design their own curriculum that works for them. Often they'll work as a team at their school or within a district. So perhaps their school district will come up with a curriculum. And school districts can be very large. So for example, the city of Los Angeles is one unified school district that services millions of children every year, or school districts can be very small. So for example, recently the school that my children attended, there were only 4 schools in the whole school district, 2 elementary schools, a middle school and a high school, and that was the whole district. And they could come up with their own curriculum themselves. So there's a huge variety of kind of diversity and approaches to curriculum in the United States. But yes, teachers do have a lot of independence.
So if I may conclude, there's no involvement from the central government. However, school can create their own curriculum. Also, it's school-based or district-based. Am I right?
Yes, really the state plays a bigger role in setting the standards for the curriculum than the central government, than the federal government does. So state to state, there are different priorities in terms of what the students should learn about history, about what math level they should be at, etc. It's relatively the same, relatively coordinated, but not dictated from the national level. So there's a lot of independence for states and for cities.
Is it controlled by the state government? Before I give the answer.
So the schools are controlled by their school district.
Oh, okay.
And the states have a mandate for like certain topics that need to be taught or certain levels of achievement that the students need to show. But the curriculum is not set down from either the state government or from the national government, just kind of the basic level or the standards that the students should be meeting. The actual curriculum design really comes down to the school district and the teachers.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. Jadi Ibu Julia, untuk penyusunan kurikulum itu diserahkan kepada sekolah atau kepada distrik, di mana satu distrik itu bisa terdiri dari beberapa sekolah. Lalu untuk pemerintah pusat sendiri tidak mengatur mengenai pembuatan kurikulum, hanya untuk pemerintah daerah memberikan kurang lebih materi-materi yang materi-materi standar yang dimasukkan ke dalam kurikulum tersebut. Namun tetap ada tes matematika, bahasa Inggris, dan reading yang sifatnya nasional. Jadi kurang lebih seperti AKM ya kalau untuk sekarang ya. Jadi tes untuk menguji kemampuan literasi dan numerasi yang sifatnya nasional. Ya, sudah cukup jelas Ibu Julia? Okay, so thank you for your explanation.
Enough, yeah. 2 questions on so we have only two questions for this first session. Miss Mary, thank you very much for your brief explanation. It's very inspiring for us. The audience, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our first sessions. Before I close our first session, I would like to take the conclusion from what the speaker has presented. So in United States, the education in United States has so much flexibility. The students has independency in choosing major and free to combine which major they want to choose. So each student has his or her uniqueness and diversity to develop creativity. They are focused on critical thinking and critical reading. Project-based learning is the approach they applied in education. I'd like to thank Ms. Mary as our first speaker for the informative and interesting speech and information, and all of the participants for the very active participation. Finally, give the applause for the speaker and for you all. Thank you very much, Ms. Mary.
Thank you very much. And let me just say thank you to all of you for the important work that you're doing. Being a teacher is a wonderful calling and so important to building the next generation of leaders. So thank you all for all the work that you do.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Mary.
Welcome. Thank you.
Nice to meet you in this webinar. Okay, dearest audiences, we will come into our next sessions. Before we come into our next session, I would like to make sure that Mr. Omar Inan has already in this room. Okay, I just get an information that Mr. Omar Inan cannot join our webinar today. Due to technical problem, he has already tried to join this seminar, getting into the room and then get lost, and then there is some problems with the audio. So this is the end of our seminar. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you for your kind attention and your readiness here.
Yeah. So thank you for your attention and for your participation. And yeah, we would like to apologize for the technical issue that is happening.
Yeah.
And thank you and good afternoon.
Okay. We are sorry for the inconvenience, and by saying Alhamdulillah, we close this session. Give applause for us. Cancel.
Agenda